to the first of the webinar series titled Ask Me Anything, hosted by Mukunda Foods. Hi, my name is Ramchandra Raman. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Nucleus Kitchens, which is part of Mukunda Foods, a kitchen as a service model. One of the objectives of this webinar series is to interact with key prominent people in the food and beverage industry and to get their insights and key learnings on how they've grown their business. So with this, I want to welcome our very first guest, Mr. Vishal Jindal. Let me do a brief introduction. Vishal is an alumni of the London School of Economics and Political Science. He is a founder of one of the most celebrated and well-known biryani brands called Biryani by Kilo. He previously founded an Indian-focused private equity fund called Capdium Capital Partners based in Gurgaon.
I am Hari. I am an angel investor and mentor, and I was the first person to take Mukunda Foods from their college and bring them to the startup world. So I work very closely with the Mukunda team and also have some other interest and investments in various QSR and tech businesses. So I'm very happy to welcome Vishal for this Ask Me Anything type of a program. The basic idea is we've got a lot of QSR entrepreneurs in India. Indian food market is a very large market. And many of these food entrepreneurs are at various stages of growth. And they all have many questions about how to do their business or how to do this, how to do that, what are the challenges. And I thought Vishal would be the great person, who can actually support these entrepreneurs by answering some of their queries and also sharing all the experiences that they have had. So all of us have had, great learnings during this COVID period. Most of us, who were doing a different type of business, we had to pivot our business during COVID, and Biryani by Kilo is one of the great examples of how they pivoted from one model to another model and how they continue to grow their business even during this test times. So I would first, start with a simple question to Vishal, to tell us about his journey of how he started Biryani by Kilo and, when did he start and what was his journey like till they have come to a stage where they are in multiple cities with multiple, outlets. Yes, Vishal, over to you.
Thanks, Hariji. Let me, before I say anything about myself, let me say, Hariji is a very dear friend and, one of the most successful and prolific investors in food tech space. He has invested in almost the most successful, I'll not take names because I'm not sure he wants everyone to know, but he has invested in one of the most successful food startups in India. So thank you so much, Hariji, for conducting this session. I hope I'm able to help people who want to get into this industry. About myself, I am Vishal Jindal. I'm the founder and co-CEO of Biryani by Kilo. Before that, I start from my college journey. I have done my engineering from IIT BHU. Then I did my master's from US. I've been a successful IT entrepreneur as well. And then I moved to investments. I was in a hedge fund, long short, in Singapore. Then I moved to India and I founded a consumer-focused private equity fund. But when I was 5-6 years back, 2015, so I had both the experiences of investments, and I've used to invest in public markets, private markets, and I've been very fond of particularly F&B sector. I've been following Jubilant Foods and Domino's in India for the last 20-25 years very closely. I always was very intrigued that we have such a good, strong and deep food heritage in this country, different regional cuisines, everything. One of the best foods. I've lived in New York, Singapore, a lot of different places. But one of the best cuisine categories we have in India. But yet, we don't have a McDonald's worldwide, Burger or a Burger King or a Domino's or a Chipotle. So it used to also a bit not only intrigue me, but also sort of disturb me. But as an investor, I also knew the challenges in scaling up a food brand in India. First of all, the rentals are a very big issue because unlike most of the Western nations, the rent here for the dine-in outlets typically is in teens, which is quite high. Second is skills to capex. It's a technical word, but I'll say the capital needed to do a dine-in outlets is easily 1 crore or 2 crore or 3 crore. So even if you are doing 30-40 lakhs per month, the sales to capex is like if you're doing, let's say, 3 crore sales a year and you put 2 crores of capex, sales to capex is still 1.5 times. So even if you take a EBITDA of 15%, which is 3 crores, 15%, 45 lakhs, it still takes a lot of time to break even. Also, there's a lot of mortality on the dine-in outlets. So even if out of 10, 2 or 3 don't do well, whatever money you made goes for a toss. But even for good high street location or mall locations in India are not so many. And some other issues are also being that the categories sometimes are not deep. Let's say Starbucks today might have 300 outlets in India, right? But in UAE itself, it might have 200, 300 outlets with a few million people. So the category sizes also are challenging, rents are challenging, sales capital costs are challenging. And also India, all over India, the taste vary a lot. The biryani you're selling in North India is very different from the Hyderabad, a Lucknowi biryani to a Calcutta biryani to a Guntur biryani, the taste change. So with all these challenges, to create a food brand is not easy, which is pan-India and which you can take it to the world, at the world level. So the biggest learning is from Jubilant, which is who is the master franchisee of Domino's in India. Out of around 300 outlets they have today, the revenue is 4,000 crore plus, and the EBITDA levels are 1,000 crore, and the market cap is around 40,000 crores. So to create how have they been able to do? The second biggest pizza company is Pizza Hut in India, which might be 700 crores and not profitable, although they came at the same time. The third biggest might be Mojo or Owen Story, which is 100 crores. So what have they been able to do, Jubilant, which is so different, that have been able to be successful despite all the challenges I just narrated a few minutes back? See, one of the main things is that pizza is a big delivery category friendly food category. And also more than 50% of the business Domino's in India comes from delivery. And their capex is lower. So the sales to capex becomes high and they're able to deliver and sweat the asset quite a bit. So looking at that, we knew that we have to focus at a delivery focused category, first of all. See, I am a very finance guy, strategy guy, a very logical person given my engineering background, and I approach the problem very logically rather than. So I think I'm just saying it because it might help few people who are listening to this. So biryani is one category which even beats pizza in being delivery friendly. Dosa is not delivery friendly. Roti is not delivery friendly. So but biryani, it is delivery friendly. You can eat it even next day. You can reheat and eat it. It's a one pot meal like pizza, one complete meal. It has carbs being rice. It has meats. It's very versatile. You can have meats. You can have chicken, fish, prawns. You can have vegetables. In biryani by kilo, we have paneer biryani. We have katal biryani. It's very versatile, one pot meal. So it doesn't get messy. It's a celebratory meal, delivery friendly. And also one of the big reasons to pick biryani is it doesn't have an incumbent leader. Like Burger King worldwide, in India also, McDonald's, or pizza has Domino's or Pizza Hut. It's not sometimes easy, I'm not saying it's impossible, but sometimes not easy to compete with a player like McDonald's, which is more than 50 years old and has close to 30,000 outlets worldwide, and they have the kind of SOPs of branding, etc., which is unbeatable to a certain extent. I'm not again saying impossible, but biryani doesn't have an incumbent leader neither in India or the world. First of all, second, it's a very deep category. If you go to certain outlets in Hyderabad, Paradise Biryani, one outlet, the oldest outlets, does closer to 60-70 crores a year, one outlet. A lot of other outlets in Hyderabad, for good companies, do excess of 1 crore per month per outlet. So it's a very deep category. And without an incumbent leader, delivery friendly, so the challenges of higher rent, higher capex, all get taken care of. Second, so we started in 2015, I and Kaushik Roy, who's my partner. And on that, I'll say, you have to choose your partners very carefully. I come from a finance, marketing, strategy, organizational building background. He comes from an ops background. he has been in F&B for last 25, 30 years. So given that he really understands foods, so sometimes I might be able to do the best strategy marketing, but I don't understand food ops that well. It takes 20, 30 years of experience to understand how on an ops level you can execute relentlessly and uh, without any error, almost no error. So it's a very good team. It has worked very well. So we were right when I look in hindsight to choose the biryani category. And also in biryani category, we when we did our surveys in a very logical way, we realized that most people, and even today, are cooking it in bulk, like 10 kgs, 20 kgs, which is okay in Hyderabad or Bangalore because it gets sold very fast. But most places, if you cook it like in Delhi or Bombay or Bhubaneswar or Jaipur, you might not be able to sell it till the evening or the next day. Then it becomes stale. So most companies are cooking it, freezing it, and sending it to the outlets, and it's just reheated. And that's how they're able to deliver it in 30 minutes. Because at biryani by kilo, we take around 25 to 30 minutes to dum cook it in the handi, and we deliver it in the same handi in which the biryani is dum cooked. We said we will only do it two ways. One, it has to be fresh. We don't want to buy a frozen pizza or make frozen pizzas and reheat and sell it, or make frozen biryani, freeze it and reheat and sell it. So we have to make it on order like pizza is made. Second thing is we have to standardize it. We don't need cooks in the system. So the same biryani which we are giving in Bangalore has to be the same in Guwahati or Bhopal or Bombay or Jamshedpur or Guwahati or tomorrow in London or New York or Singapore. So we were very clear. So we worked a lot on the back end first. So I would say in a very humble way, a lot of times founders, not only in this industry, but other industries focus a lot on front end. But back end has to be solved first. It's not that difficult to create, good looking apps or websites, but it's the product market fit or the problem you are solving. So in this industry, we said we have to make fresh biryani on order, and it has to be same quality, consistent quality everywhere we make it. And there should be no cooks or skill required or very little at the outlet level. So having said that, we have gone through doing this in a very ethical and a very passionate way. And I'm very pleased to say today, when we are ending March, we have almost 70 outlets today in around 30 cities in India, ranging from Bangalore, Mysore. Bangalore is opening next week, to Jamshedpur, Bhubaneswar, Nasik, Nagpur, Amritsar, Patiala, to Punjab, to different states. And we are quite a loved brand. And we are almost 15 crores a month sales now, 180 crores a year. And it should double by next year. By next year, March 23, our target is to have a run rate of at least 350 crores. So we should be the biggest national brand by then. And we have plans from next year to go international as well. So we will be, if I can use the word loosely, the Domino's of biryani in the world. That's our vision and a very clearly stated vision, and we have very clear execution plans for that. But we have now the IP for biryani and pizzas are how they can using a tech and SOPs in every kitchen, and how the whole tech system in terms of delivery, in terms of customer engagement and marketing and brand building, everything works. So maybe I think Hariji, was I able to answer your question, or I answered it in too long a fashion? But I hope it helps. Hariji, you are here?
Hari sir, you are on mute.
Hari or Ram, if you want to say anything, or I can take any questions.
I will just go ahead. Ram, can you hear? Hari sir, you are on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Can you call him? Yeah, I asked to unmute, so डाल दबा रहा हूँ.
Hari or Hariji, Ram or anyone else wants to say? So I've had a long journey from being an IT engineer to a US MBA to working in hedge funds, private equity, to running my IT business, to running a biryani business now. But I'm very proud of it, and this is, I want this to be our legacy to create the biggest biryani brand in the world, the kebab brand, and create the first biggest multinational F&B from India in the world.
Hi, this is Gurvinder. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, please go ahead. Gurvinder, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good afternoon to you. I'm from Kolkata. Like we run a centralized kitchen for bakery in Kolkata for last 3 years, and I was like keen to associate with this idea and wanted to check with you if you are okay to collaborate, wherein we can work out something for Kolkata with you or in some kind of an association.
So, Gurvinder, sure. So after I'll share an email address, you can send an email to. We can always, look in a very positive, open way. The stage we are in, we want to collaborate with other brands, see if we can enable them all over India. We have the supply chain commissaries in all parts of India. We have the tech teams, CRM teams, all relationships in these ecosystems, understanding. So we're happy to do so. But I like to take more questions which can help everyone here, more generic in nature, which are apply. But very happy to Gurvinder, I'll share an email where you can share the details after this call. Happy to take it one-to-one with you later.
Okay, just one more question, academic. Like there are many new startups in food tech which are claiming to have chefless kind of a model. So I just wanted to check with you in your business format, do you have this option open?
So when you say chefless, I am assuming you are saying not trained chefs, but there are human beings there for cooking. So see, finally automation is the right way if you want to scale in food business. If you're not doing boutique or Michelin star or very high-end restaurants, if you want to scale, the category has to be deep and you have to automate the kitchen and processes. I think that's what you mean by chefless here.
Right.
But having said that, you have to be very, very careful that the customer finally cares about the quality and the taste of the food and the price. So the customer doesn't care whether it's chefless or not. That we care as a company so that we are able to scale. So you have to be the first parameters of or KPIs of good taste, right price, and consistent quality has to always be maintained before you automate. Automation is, of course, necessary for scaling up, but the customer doesn't really care.
Okay, in biryani, like one more last question. Like in different regions of India, you have different tastes. For example, Hyderabad biryani is different from Lucknow biryani, and Lucknow biryani is different from Kolkata biryani. So, how would you cope up with this different taste? Because you rightly spoke that it should be the recipe should be standardized, and what a person eats in Guwahati or in Andaman or in Kashmir should be the same. But in case of biryani, because it's a question of food taste and it differs in every geographical area, how does a person cope up with this?
So, good question. So from day one, we had launched Hyderabadi, Lucknow, Calcutta biryani. That will be true for everywhere. Like if you go to a chai model, chai point, they will have a few different kind of chai. If you go to McDonald's today in India, they have a butter chicken burger also, if I'm not incorrect, or a masala dosa burger flavor also. So you have to give variety to the customer anyway, right? So we incorporated that in a model from day one, Hyderabadi, Lucknowi and Calcutta biryanis. In Bangalore, we also do Guntur and Nilgiri style. Maybe when we go to Kerala, we'll do Malabar style as well. So see, as long as you focused on the category, be it be burger, pizzas or biryani, if you understand the product, you've done that much R&D and you have a team which can keep on continuously improvising, you can always give different flavors, right? As a leader in whether in biryani or burger or any other category, in the category you are in or anyone is in, and they want to be a pan-India or world leaders. So that level of variety will have to be put in any case.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
I come back, because I was muted, I was not able to speak. So one question, Vishal, everybody is asking, why by the kilo? Is there a specific reason why you use biryani by kilo?
So this is just a history to it. When we started in 2015, we were selling in 1 kg handi biryanis. So today we sell by half kg also. Today we sell by single portion also. So, but that name has remained. But I'll tell you the logic also behind it. See, when you order a 1 kg biryani and you take away the handi and weigh the rice and meat or rice or vegetable, it is like 1,050 or to 1,100 grams. If you, for a half kg handi, if you just weigh a rice and meat vegetable outside other than the handi, it will weigh around 550 grams. So we wanted, there are two reasons. We wanted to cook on order. So first, it's fresh. Second, there is very little wastage because you're cooking on order, and it's fresh and hygienic and delicious. Also, the customer should know that people say large portion, small portion. No one really knows. But a single, normally, people eat 300-400 grams in one meal. 350-400 grams. So if people know they're ordering a half kg handi, they know it's more than sufficient for one person or 1.5 people, or even 2 people if they eat 250-300 grams. So we wanted people also to know how much they are eating. So all our things are in like 250 grams, 500 grams, 350 grams. So it is all, so it helps us save wastage and customers to predict how much they're ordering. So
yeah, normally in cooked food, we don't measure it in grams, but this is something which is very unique, right? So, everybody knows that, 1 kg biryani, small family of 3 people can easily consume. Yeah. So that's a great strategy. I think,
but we do sell in half kg and single portion handi now for people who are there. And we do sell very good kebabs and kormas and parathas as well. Yeah.
Okay. So the other question is, the industry has got a lot of challenges in terms of manpower, right? So, there is a huge set of activities which is going on in the food sector, right? And you are always struggling for getting people in newer markets. So what is the way by which you are staffing your businesses in multiple cities?
So HR and training are one of the most important departments we have. So we launch 5 outlets every month, and so we are almost hiring 150 to 200 new people every month and training them. So first of all, I would say one has to plan a quarter in advance. So we need 15 outlets plus the attrition we have. So let's say we need to hire 600 people for the quarter. So they have to be hired around a quarter in advance. And the training systems have to be very robust in terms of who passes, how they are continuously evaluated once they join the kitchens. So, but even to hire those 600 people every quarter, it's not easy. So we have relationships with all the IHMs in India, a lot of skill development institutions, etc. But it's a very robust, I would expand this question to say, when you're creating and you have the ambitions to create a big company, you have to create a very strong middle management, be it HR or training or finance or CRM or tech or marketing, so or purchase, everything, or the costs. So here are HR or training systems or departments, we are very, very robust and very strong HODs, so who are able to hire from all these institutions in advance and train them and keep them in check. So that is one of the very, and also, like I said, we try to keep our skill level in kitchen to the minimum. Like anything which requires too much skill, we move it to the central kitchen.
Okay. So there is one question. When are you going to the biryani capital of the country, Hyderabad?
So we are launching beginning of May. We already signed 2 outlets. The work is undergo. So anyone from Hyderabad, we are looking forward to serving you. We are, some of our investors in Hyderabad, from Hyderabad, they used to come to Delhi, and very senior investors, and always used to go and even used to take it back to Hyderabad. At least they claim, and I also do, but in a very humble way, that our biryanis are better than Hyderabad biryani.
Okay. Okay.
And but I understand that biryani, the god, if I can say in Hindi, and we are very, looking forward to coming there very soon in next 2 months.
So there's one more question. Which market is more profitable, T1 or T2?
Always T2.
Always T2.
Always.
Okay.
So see, T1 takes a lot of time. I'll tell you first, see in Bangalore, the kind of manpower cost we have, let's say I'm taking just an example, it's higher than anywhere in India. So it takes much more longer for outlet, although we break even, we BBK outlets break even generally in the second month only, mostly. But in Bangalore, it will take more time because the labor costs are higher. Also, in most of the tier one towns, there's always be a higher competition in any category. The choices are many for the customers, which is good, but it will it will take much more longer for any brand to expand their higher rents, higher labor, higher logistics cost, and to break even there. And given the high competition also there, and also if I can say, let's say if I am going to a Dehradun, I'll give you an example of marketing also. If I'm going to a Dehradun, the radio frequency there, which we call FCT, might be 100 rupees for 10 seconds. In Bombay, it might be 1,000 rupees for 10 seconds. But even if I can ready to spend 1,000 rupees for 10 seconds in Bombay, if I do a radio campaign and if I have only 2 outlets, it doesn't make sense. Someone's in Kolaba or Vashi who's listening to my radio campaign might not be even able to order till I have those. I'm able to have 15, 20 outlets at least, or 10, 15, and cover all of Bombay. So the campaigns have to be very localized, because if you're in a big city, let's say a city like Dehradun or Jamshedpur, I can take the whole radio campaign. I can cover the whole Jamshedpur or Dehradun in 1 or 2 outlets. And there is lesser competition, lesser rent, there's a lesser manpower cost, less competition. And the buying power, I would say, for the people, which most of the, if I'm not putting 10 out, of course, I cannot put 10 outlets in Dehradun, but the 2 outlets I can put in Dehradun, which will be much more profitable, and break even would be achieved faster than in a Bombay or Bangalore.
So on an average, how much time do you take to break even at the outlet level in, let's say, tier 2 cities? 3 months?
Tier 2 city, first month.
Wow.
Tier 2 city, first full month. Always.
Okay.
Always. Even profitable. So tier 2 is easier.
Okay. So the other challenge or the other question which most of the QSR entrepreneurs have is, today their orders are typically coming from Swiggy and Zomato. And, these online marketplaces are giving them the orders, and they take away a large portion of the revenue as their commissions and discounts and things like that. So if you look at the food cost and then take away the cost of, delivery and discounting, the margins which are left are very, very insignificant for a business to be sustainable, right? So especially if your average order value is 200, 300 rupees, you're actually left with nothing, when you are doing this, when you're getting orders from the marketplaces. So what's your take on that?
So Hariji, I would say, the perspective has to be different to look at it. How I look at it, in any segment in the world, any category in the world, let's say you take movie industry, I'll take 1 or 2 categories, 3 categories. You're in the movie industry, you are Sanjay Leela Bansali, or you are Karan Johar, you produce movies, right? You produce content, like cloud kitchens or F&B companies, or we produce biryani or kebabs, right? But if Sanjay Leela Bansali makes a movie, or Karan Johar, but for distribution, if they have to go to PVR or Inox or Netflix or Amazon Prime, they have to give the distribution cost, and it would be higher than 20-25%, right? Or let's say I am Unilever or P&G, or I am a FMCG producer, right? For any product, I have to go to Amazon or a Flipkart for online. I still have to give that 30%, or I have to go to a Reliance Fresh or a Jio or a Futures or a Shoppers Stop. I still have to give. So in any market or any category, there is a certain distribution cost, which is not different in the food industry. You the business model very carefully, right? What gross margins we are working, what is the, so here, but in the delivery industry, I think what people have to understand is that their AOC, the delivery cost is typically 50, 60 rupees. It's difficult to bring it down as of today in India. As of today, I'm saying unless you are in 2 kilometers doing 100, 200 orders a day or whatever, right? Much more. So there's a certain delivery cost. What in a cloud kitchen people are saving on the rent. Instead of being 12, 13, 14%, it's 4, 5%. You're saving 7, 8% there. You're saving in capex, but you're spending much higher in the marketing and delivery cost. So someone has to do a business plan very carefully, that let's say if your AOB is 250 rupees, it's not so easy because the delivery cost will stay at 50, 60 rupees or even higher. The food cost will stay at 27, 28%, let's say, most of the cases, unless you're dessert, ice cream, some other categories, right? Packaging cost, right? So instead of, but see, so you have to be able to see that if you can you move your AOV to 500 rupees, can you have sticky customers who can order again and again? Do you have, because you're on Zomato, Swiggy, and your food is so you have to spend less on marketing. Also, can you at some point be able to move your customer to your own channels? So those are more relevant questions. So I think it's very easy to make anyone in life, for that matter, a villain, or to us, a victim. I think it has to be looked at more holistic way. I don't want to get into particular names or exact, but someone has to look more holistically how the business model is planned. Distribution costs and marketing costs will always be there. But so someone has to find middle ways in terms of AOB, repeat customers, etc., to compensate for it.
Yes, I think you absolutely nailed it. This is every business has a cost of marketing and distribution, and the platforms typically provide a very large user base and help a lot of smaller brands to get noticed, and they have to pay a cost for that. So it's very important in terms of how they plan their business and how they sort of look at engaging with customers in their geographical marketplace. Okay, so the other thing is, what is the type of change that you are seeing in the food landscape? We are now seeing that more and more cloud kitchens are coming in, and there is a lot of competition, in the sense customers are spoiled for choice. So how do you see this landscape change in terms of both at a national level brands and for level brands?
Again, Hariji, I will use a perspective here. How someone looks at a lens is very important, which lens someone looks. So Zomato and Swiggy has around 1.5 lakh listed, close to that, restaurants, F&B, cloud kitchens, restaurants, delivery in India. If someone checks Beijing, in one city, there might be 1.5 lakh restaurants listed on Meituan, which is like the Domino's, which is like the Zomato, Swiggy of India, Meituan there or LA.me. So I wouldn't agree that, there are too many people, too many restaurants. It's only 1.5 lakh for listed on Zomato, Swiggy. They are doing closer to 1.5 million orders per day, Zomato, Swiggy, to my last knowledge, which makes it 10 orders per restaurant per day. Right? So we have a long way to get. How I look at food industry is F&B industry. I lived in Singapore for 8 years. And a lot of my friends who are Chinese or Caucasians there, I used to go to their houses, and the kitchen, they would have just tea bags, right? And they were eating, we eat like 3 meals a day, most people, 90 meals a month. They were eating all 90 meals outside, right? So today in India, when you look at Zomato, Swiggy data, my last data, my understanding is, they're good users are ordering maybe 5-6 times a month. So out of 90 meals, as the market grows, people in India also, people would eat out or take delivery or take out maybe 15-20 meals a month out of 90 meals, given the double income households, traffic, everything. So out of, let's say, those 15 from current, and those 4-5 meals is also only applicable to 50 million people universe, which today the food delivery industry is serving. When this universe moved from 50 million to 100 million or 200 million, and move from 5 meals delivery to 10 meal delivery or 15 meal delivery, in Zomato, Swiggy, 1.5 million orders per day would move to 3, 4, 5 million orders a day. So either this 1.5 lakh orders restaurants would do, instead of 10 orders a day, will do 20, 30, 40, or there'll be more restaurants. So it's a very long way to go. It's a very, very robust and a very high growth industry, and room for a lot of more players, but I think the unit economics have to be thought of. On that basis, I'll say a lot of the cloud kitchen entrepreneurs I talk to, they get to 4-5 lakh or 6 lakhs per month revenue. See, at that point, you're just breaking even or making very little profit. You're neither there nor there. The magic starts to happen when you start doing 12, 13, 14 lakhs a month, at least. Like a biryani by kilo, we do more than 20 lakhs per month per outlet per brand, like which is only biryani by kilo. So Domino's is successful in India because they do 30 lakhs per month per outlet. So that's where the EBITDA and the magic happens. Right? So you have to be able to do more. But answering your core question, there's a room for much more restaurants, much more business. This industry is as the India's GDP grows, we have more double income, and the cities are of course getting, if I can say, more traffic, etc. So we will of course move from 50 million to 200 million people who will order, from 5 orders a month to 20 orders a month. So it's a very long growth cycle.
Oh, that's a great answer. So I think what you're saying is we're just scratching the surface now. There is a lot of room for growth, and everybody will be able to contribute to that growth and support that type of a demand from consumers who would start ordering more and more, and who are spoiled for choices because you can have any type of food that you want just with a few clicks of your phone. Okay, so that's great. So I have many questions here, but I would now talk about you have done a great job in terms of taking onto the social media and inviting personalities to taste biryani and build your brand. So why don't you give some tips to our QSR friends in terms of how they should build their brand?
So brand, I think before you build, one has to know what are the brand values, what is the core strengths of the brand. Sometimes people confuse brand building with just mind share or pure, that people know a name. I will not say a name. This other biryani brand, they might have spent like more than 100 crores in ATL. But instead of we doing 22, 23 lakhs per month per outlet, they might do 4, 5 lakhs per month per outlet. So mind share doesn't mean brand building or just just talking or doing marketing or putting hoardings. First, someone has to understand what are the brand values, core values, which you want, which are true to your brand, yours in specific case, which you want people to know, and those values you want to further communicate. I think that understanding from entrepreneurs is very important. And who's your right audience whom you wanted to propagate? Because if you're propagating it to 1 billion people in India, you are just wasting your dollar or rupee. So understanding yourself, your brand, and your core audience is the first step, I would say. And then, amplification. Today, everyone is very smart. I don't need to tell people. We divided into old-fashioned way of ATL, which is over the top, like above the line. We used to say no one uses those things now. Like which will mean, broad level campaigns all over India, like we did with Ali Fazal, Rajpal Yadav, even Arjun Kapoor. So taking it all over India, that like which I say, which lifts all boats, all outlets. Second, of course, is the BTL campaigns, which is store specific, flyers, local store level marketing. And then, of course, which is the holy grail now, is the digital marketing, where you can do very strong performance marketing. And I think the new age entrepreneurs are better than all of us in terms of both Google, Facebook, and so the GDN and the DV360 in Google, and of course Facebook are great platforms in doing specific performance marketing. A lot of good digital marketing agencies, influencer marketing. So I think it is more than the understand. It is, but what you want to communicate and who you are has to be better defined. I think most people do understand that how to do the digital marketing or the SEO building or the ATL or BTL campaigns. They have to be done in right amounts, though. Yeah, to be balanced.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you a very specific question on, how do you see the food landscape change in India in terms of we have a lot of diversity in Indian food itself. Plus, we've got a lot of Western food, and that's also coming in. For example, I think in India we sell a lot of pizza compared to many of the other Indian products, right? So how do you see this landscape changing, and especially with regional cuisine also becoming national? For example, biryani, I think there would be 100 types of biryani in India, and maybe more, right? And you are catering to, let's say, 5 or 10 types of biryanis, right? So similarly, there are so many other types of Indian food which is still not penetrated the entire country, right? So how do you see this landscape changing both for Indian as well as Western food, given the fact that we are highly digitized today?
So I think here again I have a bit of different take, if I can say. See, burgers are made popular in India or in the world by McDonald's or Burger King. Let's say I took two names. Of course, in US you have a Shake Shack or In and Out or Five Guys. A lot of them others. So McDonald's probably started, if I remember right, in 1960s after Second World War. So they were able to scale it to, let's say, today's close to 30,000, 28,000 outlets the worldwide. They made burger a great category, right? Or Chipotle, there was no Mexican real category in US such big before Chipotle started. Today, Chipotle has maybe 3,000 outlets, right? So Mexican is a big category, right? Domino's took the pizza to the world. Maybe if I can say in a tongue-in-cheek way or a humble way, not the Italians. It was the Americans, the Domino's who took it to the world. It also depends on the entrepreneur and the company, which I've been asked this question by investors. It's a lot of times that will biryani can go biryani national. So we are able to take it national or all over India because we have been able to create those SOPs, that level of investments, that level of middle management, and everything which is required to take it national. Right? A lot of other companies in India who are even 20 years old or 40 years old in this business have not been able to take it. Or we can or might take it for, I would believe, actually more than likely, for most likely, we'll take it to the world in 5 years. You can eat biryani by kilo in New York after 5 years, and Singapore or London or Dubai. So it also depends on the companies who are able to standardize and market and create a brand and take that. Chipotle was able to do it, or McDonald's was able to do it. In BBK, we are able to do it in India. So it will. So a lot of foods are very good. I love Goan food. I love Maharashtrian food. I love Kannada food. But their needs also requires an evangelist, if I can use the word loosely, with entrepreneur, who are able to take category of food and standardize it and brand it and market it to India and the rest of the world. So it will also depend. This is very difficult to predict. What Aridi you asked, which categories will do? It will depend on the entrepreneurship quality of that and the quality of the companies who push those categories.
Thank you. So what you're saying is, though there is a lot of opportunity, a lot of food, evangelizing that food and taking it to the market, to the globe, is in the hands of entrepreneurs. So there is a great opportunity for entrepreneurs in the QSR or in the food space to take any Indian food that they want globally, as long as they're able to execute it properly.
Yes, see, like Sagar has been able to take momos to the India. So not every entrepreneur would have been able to take. It requires a Sagar or Wow Momo to take it, right?
Right. Okay, so now I'll change the questions to fundraising and valuation, right? So you have raised funds very successfully for a number of rounds, but at the early stage, what were the challenges of fundraising, and what is the type of problem you had with valuations?
See, I think there were more problems when we were raising in 2015-16. Today, the ecosystem is much stronger. See, today in F&B industry, there are a lot of public listings or IPOs in the last 1 year. Be it Burger King or Barbecue Nations or Biryani or Sapphire Foods. So investors understand that 1,000 or 2,000 crore company in F&B can be now created. It can be done IPOs. It can become all pan India. You have a Westlife, you have a Jubilant, because once you have, when I was in my engineering in 92, when I passed out, Infosys came to our campus and they took half the people and half the people didn't want to, right? So, and no one really knew Infosys then, right? So, but once Infosys got listed or Wipros got listed, a lot of the smaller companies also in IT, because they can, now people know that they can be IPO'd, or the likes of Infosys or Wipro can acquire them, right? So there's a exit path, both to IPOs or to acquisition. So there's a lot more. So investors are also seeing a lot of success stories like BBK, Wow Momo, Box8, and of course Biryani and the Sapphire. So it's a much more robust ecosystem. I think for a good entrepreneur now, it should not be that challenging. In terms of valuation, I would say don't be too stuck. People get from 2x to 8x in this industry of their annual revenues, right? So average being 4x, let's say, I would say. But I think, let me be honest about it, the companies which don't have scale or less than 50 crores of revenue, until unless there's a very good category of entrepreneurs, very robust, typically you might get 1.5 to 3 times revenue, or 2.5. And only when you grow big enough, where the investors start understanding that you're bigger, your valuation will move from 3-4x times annual revenue to 5x. Might be the case when you're small to get 1 to times annualized revenue, which is okay, right? Just take money from good people, right people, not only valuation. People like Mr. Hari, who can support you all the way, right? Who can support you all the way to Series C, D, IPO. Take good people who can give you network, who can give you guidance, who can, it's not only the valuation, connect with right people, connect with good people. Valuation is an important metrics, but not the most important metrics.
So what about equity versus debt? Do you think that a combination of equity and debt works, or, it's just equity all the way?
I am a bit conservative that way, given my age. So younger people might look at it. But I would say a debt should be taken when you are profitable, or a path to profitability in another 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years. So you can service the debt, right? So if someone is focused on growth and they would need, they will not be able to service the debt, the interest, or pay the debt, even in the future in 1 or 2 years, it might be prudent to pick up equity till you are that big. Why risk? Why takes unnecessary risk when you're in such a high growth phase?
Okay. I wanted to ask you about, what is your, sort of understanding about the franchising model? A lot of people want Biryani by Kilo as a franchisee, in their city, which is a small city, right, where you would go maybe after 2 years or 3 years, but they see that as an opportunity today, right? So why would you franchise or not franchise your brand to others? Because you've got standard SOPs, right? So you can create more entrepreneurs by, giving out franchises in smaller towns. So what is your take on that?
So see, we are not in favor of that ourselves in Biryani by Kilo for giving local franchisee, because it will take a lot of energy to deal with each and every franchisee in terms of agreements, in terms of quality control, etc. Also, we have seen in a lot of cases in India that quality is difficult to maintain once you franchise. Because sometimes, I'm not saying in every case, but in some cases, franchisee, because they try to take shortcuts in terms of no matter what the SOPs, etc., in terms of quality, etc. So for us, the brand is very important, and the quality, which we think has to be very high standard, etc. And our capex required for each outlet is not that high, and we have money. So we don't need to do it. But when we are going international from next year, we are very strong, like Jubilant is a master franchisee for Domino's in India. So similarly, we are very open, and we would do that, to do joint ventures or master franchisees in UAE or Middle East or Far East or UK. That we are quite open, because we don't understand those countries as well. We don't have manpower there. We don't understand regulation there. So like Domino's, we will be able to plug in the IP, the qualities, the SOPs, the brand building, the tech. But the local hiring, the trainings, and the local regulatory environment, and the local execution, the partner has to do. But in India, given that we have the money and we think we should be able to do a better job, we don't necessarily want to do it, but it can surely work for some other F&B companies who it is on more on a case-to-case basis.
So in terms of the biryani market, where other than India, which is your first market that you plan to enter, from outside, for biryani by kilo is outside India, which is the market you would go first?
So Middle East, we have looked quite closely. We have a very strong interest from very big companies there who are already master franchisees for very big F&B companies and apparel companies in that region. So the Saudi Arabia, the Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, there is a lot of Indian diaspora first, and also biryani as a category is very well known. And we have done Reiki there. We don't believe they have strong players like BBK there. But having said that, my daughter studies in UK, Oxford, so I keep going there a couple of times a year. So there is no other biryani, that level of player in UK as well, or the kebab player. Even our investment bankers invested from UK. So we have seen it that even we can do it. So there can be many countries, but Middle East should be our first option, I believe. But wherever there is a big Indian diaspora like UK or Singapore or Indonesia, we should do well. Wherever it's a rice-eating nation, wherever Indian diaspora is there, biryani as a category is very well known. And we believe we have done a lot of surveys, Reikis, and understanding, anecdotal evidence that a player like biryani by kilo in biryani and kebab, the level of SOPs and the quality and the range we have and the technical know-how in different ways we have, we should do well in a lot of these countries.
Thank you. So there are a few questions, on the chat. I'll just ask a few questions. How do you monitor if SOPs are followed at all the outlets?
So I think good question. See, first of all, we have audit departments, very strong audit departments who are auditing outlets at least twice a month. First. Number two, there are a lot of mystery audits happening as a customer, which in terms of where we map it. Third, we take a lot of feedback. Every order which goes, the customer gets a SMS to give feedback. The call center calls the next day. So if we see any feedback in any outlet for any product, delivery or quality of the food going more than our tolerance level, we know there is something wrong. The audits will throw up if there is something wrong. Mystery audits or the feedback of the customers will throw up if there is something wrong. Also, we have recently installed video analytics, AI-enabled cameras as well in different parts of the kitchen, where we are able to monitor if any SOP is not being followed. So there's a lot of varied ways in checking that out.
Okay, now I will, change it slightly. I will ask you a few questions on, what is the level of automation that you are building? I know that you had a big challenge in terms of producing the earthen pots, because your volumes grew up suddenly and you were probably, struggling to get more suppliers for that. So I heard that you've automated that whole process of manufacturing, these handis. And also in terms of the food preparation, what type of automation is VBK using?
So see, we recently, I'm happy to say, we have put our own handi factory. I ate biryani from our own handi factory, first handi, just few days back. So we have own handi factory and we have put some automation there. But now we have our own handi factory. We have hired very good automation people who will be automating this factory for the next few months by the end of the year. So when we are ready to go to Middle East next year or UK, so we have an automated handi factory where very little labor is required from next year. So we can put these factories in different parts of the world so that we don't have to ship these handis. Coming to the kitchen automation, like whenever we put a process in the kitchen, we try to see that it should not require much judgment or skill, even today. So a robotic arm should be able to do that part, which today a human is doing in the kitchen a few years down the road. So we only put that kind of a process in the kitchen. So having said that, we always have to weigh how much a robotic arm implementation will cost as a business vis-a-vis a human being who's doing that. But having said that, we also, I'm recreating, putting processes per person in the kitchen, which are easily replicable by a robotic arm. So it's a matter of time, sooner or later, we will try to move a lot of the processes in the kitchen also through these automated processes.
So in terms of your cooking time, for example, you may take 20 minutes to cook a biryani properly, right? So is there a way or is there any technology by which this time can be reduced?
So see, definitely, sir, Hariji. So I think, it has taken us when we started 2015 to make the fresh biryani in 1.5 hours and deliver it in 3 hours to today, cooking it in single portion handi in 15, 60 minutes, half kg, 1 kg in 25, 30 minutes. So see, I will get philosophical here. See, instead of answering it directly, today, I have driven a Tesla from Boston to New York and vice versa. I've been on those, I've seen, I've been on the, not driven, I've been on the passenger seat. I've seen it can be done driverless, right? So today, who could have thought that a car can be on a road, you can sort of tomorrow be watching video, and be going driverless, right? And also, having said that, uh, if you look at aeroplanes, right? Today, to go from Delhi to Bombay, you take 2 hours, right? Which is, let's say, close to 1,000 or 1,200 kilometers, right? If I'm not wrong. So, but that plane speed of 500-600 kilometers per hour has not changed much in last 20, 30 years, right? If I'm not sure I'm right, but I think so. But having said that, like a lot of things move, right? So biryani at the end of the day is not rocket science. We are not taking people to Mars, or we are not creating I'm under no delusion here, right? So having said that, technology can of course, enable all of that. If you have the right moisture, right heating, right cooking, it is maybe biryani. So I think a lot of it can be done. We are all working on it. Like I said, from 2015 to now, we have moved from 120 minutes to 30 minutes. So mashallah, we'll move further down. It's a continuous improvement process, and we'll continue to do so.
So my next question to you is on this 10-minute food delivery business, right? So we have seen how some brands have started delivering commodities in 10 minutes, and now we are talking about delivering hot food in 10 minutes, right? So how do you see this market evolving, and what are the things that you think brands will do in order to deliver in 10 minutes? Is it going to be all types of food or only specific types of food?
First thing, like I said, we believe in fresh food. We believe in slow cooking. So I always say, if you're getting a biryani in 30 minutes at your home, this means 15, 20 minutes delivery time. It was cooked in 7, 8 minutes, which is impossible. You can make a pizza in 7, 8 minutes, but biryani, this means you're just getting a reheated frozen biryani, right? So having said that, we are not a believer in that. But having said that, I do understand that there are younger people, different people, and different categories, like maybe, a bada pav or a chai or a bun omelette, a lot of different things, which can be pre-cooked. And companies, big aggregators, they know the demand for the next 1 hour in that area, right? They can predict and get them pre-cooked and put them in a warmer for 1 or 2 hours, whatever the shelf life is, I don't know. And sort of, so it might take very little time to dispatch. Instead of 10, 15 minutes for most restaurants, might take 1 or 2 minutes, right? Or they might choose to do, instead of 5 kilometers, in 1 kilometer radius, right? In BKC, 1 kilometer radius, which might take 6, 7, 8 minutes. So it will depend on the category of food, the radius, etc., which is there. So, it is sometimes, we are, so although I'm again reiterating, we are not a big believer. We believe in slow, fresh cooking and very high quality ingredients and food. But, things evolve. It's sometimes difficult for us to predict and see what might the future hold. So I don't know. I generally keep my fingers crossed and give everything a chance. That's, I think, good way to look at it.
I had one last question on, how are you being environmentally friendly? What happens to all the handis that you are generating? How are they disposed, or how are they recycled? Are you doing anything about that?
So I think it's a very easy question for me to answer because I think very eco-friendly. I think the handi we give, because we don't take it back. Most people I know, they use it to make put plants in them, and we will be going forward even try to give seeds along with the handi so that people can put plants in them. People do, children paint in them. My younger daughter paints on that, and lot of I know people cook in them. So people can cook biryani, people can cook dal. They are reusable. So unlike any plastic or any other container or glass, this is reusable in a very big way through plants, painting, cooking, and because we don't take it back, it's the people who do it. But mud by itself is eco-friendly. It doesn't waste that treatment like electronics or plastic.
So compared to other food brands who use a lot of plastic, you always have an edge because you're using, Mother Earth and its variations. So that's a great saving for, in terms of, the environment. And I think that's a brilliant idea to have taken the handi and sort of, now you're going to take it to the globe, right? So everywhere, there'll be a piece of India, or maybe some local earth which is going to be used. So that's a very commendable strategy, I would say, and it's very user friendly, it's very eco-friendly, right? And compared to many of the other brands who are continuously using plastics and other types of material which is really polluting the world, right? So that I think you have got an edge there, and you should look at how you can get more credits for this. Okay, before we go ahead.
I would just like to say, take 30 seconds, say, today India is doing so well. I'm so proud. I've lived in New York, I've lived in Singapore. We are doing so well. We're already a 3 trillion economy. And it is time for us to export the soft power of India, which Bollywood has done. We want to do it through food. Biryani is our national heritage. It is, I think, far superior, if I can say, to other categories which have gluten, which have, processed food. Our food is, it's very high quality rice. We use 2 years naturally aged rice, or a lot of very high end spices, which are good now we know for the mind and the body. And it is eco-friendly, very flavorful and aromatic. We want to now make all the India proud, take it to the world, and export India's soft power. And we hope all of you to keep supporting us, and by ordering through our website or download our app. We have one of the best veg, non-veg biryani, kebab, everything I said. A lot of curries as well, which people don't know, and a very popular filmi as well. Yeah.
So I'll ask, the audience now to ask, 3 people can ask questions to Vishal, so if you want to ask a question to Vishal, which has not been covered so far, please raise your hand and, ask the question. So last 3 questions, we are 1 hour. And so we'll just take 3 questions if any of you have. Please either put it in the chat box or you can ask, we'll unmute you and ask the question. Yes.
Hi, Vishal, hi, this is Shubhradeep.
Hi.
Hi, I'm the founder of a brand called Anti-Funks. It's a QSR on Asian Street
Oh,
Food.
I know. Hariji, I want to connect with you after the call.
Okay, great. Well, anyways, I'll bother you later on also.
Please do.
So, yes, first of all, yes, I'm a big fan of your Calcutta biryani. I've been having it in Gurgaon and now in Bangalore also for the last 3-4 years. So it's quite spot on. As a consumer, I can tell you. My question is also, so yes, we currently have 10 stores in Bangalore and 5 in NCR. And so what are some of those initial recruits that you do? I mean, in the middle, after the founders, you have a lot of store staff, right? Well, but the first few recruits in terms of marketing or in the commercial leadership roles. So what has been your journey in 2016, 17, when you were scaling up and building that middle management, the first few recruits, if you can just throw some light on that, because that's where we are currently. So
no, it's a very, very important question, Shubhadeep. I know where you're coming from. See, you have to always map your own skills and strengths and weaknesses. Do you have a co-founder?
Yes, he's there on the call also. Chatrajit is there on the call. Yes. Yeah.
Hi. So, Sajid, so you always have to map your strengths and weaknesses and your co-founder's strengths and weaknesses. In a business, you need a very strong finance person, marketing person, ops person, if I can say HR person, training. You have to first both map yours and co-founders, whoever your co-founders are, strengths and weaknesses. After that, you have to see which are the weak areas in the organization. I always, generally, a sort of I will word it very loosely. You only need one hole in the boat to make it sink in the sea. You don't, the boat might be robust otherwise, right? So you always have to spot those weak areas by mapping yours and co-founders' strengths and weaknesses, and say which are the weak areas which are still left or not so strong areas after mapping yours and co-founders' strengths, and go first for the senior people in those roles and give them ESOPs, make them a part of the team. Right? So with me and Kaushik, we mapped what are the strengths and the remaining weaknesses, which someone has to be very truthful and very candid about. Should be, there the senior people should be hired first. It will depend on the co-founder's strengths and background.
Correct.
So that's my short answer. But in your case, I will meet you one-to-one anyway soon. So
Done. Sure.
More details.
Done. Thank you. Sure. Absolutely. Looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vishal Mehta, you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, hi. My question was around other
Vishal,
ecosystems that.
Can you introduce yourself first?
Yeah, hi. My name is Vishal. I actually ran a commissary kitchen when I was in college with my father and mother. This was 15 years back. I've stayed outside India and now intend to come back and do something in the food tech space. My question was, I want to ask, are there other ecosystems that can be created around cloud kitchens that can add value in terms of, better supply chains, better waste management, better training as one of the things that you meant. So essentially, not just the part where you're selling food and selling the food experience, but ecosystems that can be built around this. So this can be an industry like how IT is a big industry today, or manufacturing, auto is a big industry. That's my question.
So Vishal, I got your question. It's a very, again, pertinent question, and for sure. And I'll give you something to boost your morale even further. If I can put it in Hindi, clouds, there might be a very high mortality in the cloud kitchens. So they might not make money or not, but let's say people like you who are strengthening the ecosystems will always make money, right? They say in a gold rush, the people who are selling the shells always make money. So having said that, there's a lot of space to create in this ecosystem. Like Mukunda Foods is making the automation, the kitchen equipment, automated kitchen equipment. The kitchen equipment industry is very unorganized in India, if I can say. You can get into that. You can get into waste management, like you said. You can be in the business of providing manpower to these cloud kitchens, trained manpowers, or hiring manpower for them, or training them, or giving them software services for this. So I think that's a very good idea. Instead of directly, going for the cloud kitchen, you can be a very big part of the ecosystem, because it's going to boomerang and grow at a very high growth pace from now. Yeah. So the answer is yes.
Thank you so much.
One last question, please. One last question. Anybody wants to ask?
Yeah, hi, Hari. Yeah, hi, Vishal.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of takeaways from the session. Yeah.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, Vishal. So Vishal, this is Ayush from Bangalore. I'm a co-founder for a shawarma brand here. We are a QSR with 26 locations in Bangalore. It's a shawarma chain, basically. The brand is called Just Shawarma.
Okay.
Yeah, so something we started out of college, and now we've been able to franchise and expand it to 26 locations. So, so Vishal, two questions. One is that, when we are trying to scale up in terms of the processes, there is always a challenge in terms of, replicating that exact freshness or that taste when you're focusing on your processes so much. It kind of becomes a challenge at some scale. So how did you overcome that in terms of if you have to select taste versus process, what has to be prioritized is one question. And another one is that what KPIs would you suggest for a food brand or for a brand which is on an aggressive expansion phase? What KPIs should we really ensure that we have tracked it properly, or should be prioritized on.
I got it. No, thank you. I think again important questions. So Ayush, I said the first question, you said fresh versus processed food, right? Or how, right? So that is a chicken and egg situation, right? So I think you have to always believe that it starts with the founder, right? If you choose a 150 rupees shawarma or process, you will get that kind of audience. If you choose a 50 rupees shawarma or a fresh, I'm just using these things loosely. They might not be related. I don't mean them exactly. So it depends on what you want to. There's a big enough market for a cheaper biryani in India, which might not be. Also, there might be space for fresh biryani, right? It's what we chose. It's what you choose, right? You will get the similar kind of audience. Now you have to see that what your business model allows. If you want 200 orders a day and you need a 150 rupees shawarma to make 30,000 rupees, and that's your business model, maybe, like fresh might not be the answer for that. Maybe it will require some process and all that, right? So it will always be for function of business model and the audience you are serving. It cannot be one or the other. It has first you have to decide on the business model and the audience you are serving, and then it will come out from there, right? If you want to give, someone wants to give a 60 rupees shawarma, right? Let's say I don't know your brand, so I'm not commenting on your brand. I have no idea which price point you are, where you are. So that is your audience. You want a very high footfall market where people are coming and going and taking. So it depends on everything else. It cannot be decided in isolation, number one. Second, coming on your KPIs, right? In a fast growing model, right? So first of all, everyone will always look at sales, right? How's the sales? How's the triple SD, same store sales growth? How the brand is growing? What is the repeat customer rate, even if you're getting high sales? What is your own channel sales? How much is your EBITDA, right? How much is the complaints you're getting? So the KPIs would be sales, per square foot sales, repeat customers, complaint feedbacks, how many on good quality feedbacks, ratings, your EBITDA levels. Those will be attrition rate of employees. That will showcase your growth, your unit level economics, the customer repeats rate, the complaints you're getting. It will be a mix of those KPIs: sales, EBITDA, quality, customer, employee.
Perfect, Vishal. Thank you so much. I think that answers both the questions. And on a personal note, Vishal, one thing I would like to just comment on is amazing conviction on when the whole tide says that focus on prep time, bring down the prep time as much as you can, and all that. You have completely gone against the way when you stuck with your product in terms of serving the 60 minutes biryani, the best biryani. Amazing conviction.
No, I will surely try your shawarma next time and give you feedback. I look at you for LinkedIn.
Looking forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I now hand over to the Mukunda Foods team. Please, if you have any closing remarks, please take it up. Thank you, Vishal, very much for your time and your insights. I hope all the people here enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you, Hariji, and hi, DB.
Hi. Thank you so much. It was really enriching to hear you, Vishal, and thanks a lot, Hari sir, for there was a technical glitch and you covered it so well, and we got to hear a lot of insights from a lot of participants as well. And I will just there were a few questions on automation as well, so I'll just answer those instead of getting into any this thing. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone. So there was a question about, do we have anything which makes gravy making machine? So I'm just showcasing our walkie, which is an automatic wok which takes care of all varieties of food that needs to be mixed or stirred or made on a pan or a wok. So this machine is capable to make not only Indian gravies, but also a lot of cuisines that needs to be prepared on a pan or a wok in terms of noodles, fried rice, pasta, soup, salads, all varieties of Thai gravies, chicken, mutton, and also even the pulaus and varieties of item that can be done. So in terms of gravy machine, that's there. There was a question on, is kitchen automation the path to profitability? I think Vishal had already mentioned a few points on this. So just to add to it, I would say, where do, and the question actually is divided into two parts. The first part is kitchen automation the path to profitability for restaurants? Second part is, if yes, then what do you see chefs be doing in that automated world of kitchens? That's a very interesting question, but the answer to that is, the merger of the kitchen take that Mukunda develops, there the role of chef's recipes plays the most crucial role. We make products which takes care of the basic cooking technologies in terms of hardware, but at the same time we have a software to it which is in terms of taking care of controlling the recipes and uploading the recipes. So this merger of kitchen take and chef's recipes is, I think, proving to be the future of F&B. Like any success of the food business, if you look at including Vishal's brand, there are multiple aspects, right? If I may take example of his packaging to the presentation and the way the delivery happens and the whole aroma that comes. So, but at the end of the day, real hero remains for any food business is the primary magic of the chef, right? And to ensure that magic is replicated, kitchen tech comes into place. So our products ensure that there is maintenance of consistency and there is a maintenance of recipe management. And it has been observed that even the slightest of change in SOP, we ensure that our products are able to do, whether it is in our Dosamatic, which was our first product, to Eco Fryer, to Rico, to Walkie, in all our products. So in that way, we have been working towards it. And on that note, I would like to kind of play a small video before we wrap up this wonderful episode. I'm just playing the video. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Now on your screen, what you're seeing is the products that Mukunda has been building for various F&B brands in terms of fine dine to QSRs to cloud kitchens to all variants of F&B businesses. And we have machines. One way we spoke about, the most popular one currently happens to be Walkie, which you are seeing on your screen, which takes care of all varieties of food items that is made on a pan or a wok. And this is an E-pan. This is a automatic griller, basically, which takes care of all varieties of flatbreads and all varieties of your burger patties and all that is being done on this machine. And it is being rigorously used by some of the brands that are here with us today and the people who are planning to do. We also have Ram with us, who actually heads the business of CAS, where we have something called Nucleus, which takes care of, provides kitchen as a service, where all these robots are playing a role, where multiple brands operates from the same kitchen, which is used as a shared cloud kitchen, with the automation being at the forefront. So the brands still have to just put this, provide us the recipes and provide us the ingredient. Rest everything is done through kitchen automation using our bots. And we have been able to have multiple kitchens right now, and we are expanding very fast to various cities of the country and outside as well. And the one which you are seeing right now is an automatic fryer, which takes care of your varieties of frying, where again the recipes are managed through the recipe management system that is part of, and all these machines are connected through cloud. And every recipes that is being done here, once it is put on here, you don't have to worry about the consistency of the product. Thank you, everyone. On this note, I would like to again thanks Hari sir and thanks Vishal. It was real pleasure, and we will be having a lot of sessions in the coming time with Hari sir and with few other great players from the F&B. And thanks a lot, Vishal, for your time. Thanks a lot, Hari sir, for your time as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hope to see you again with another episode. I have Wow Momo Sagar agreeing to do a AMA, so we will announce that later.
Wow. That's confirmed, is it?
Yes, it's confirmed.
Oh, wow. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you all.